Are you tired of time wasters and tire kickers on your sales calls? It's one thing to have 30 calls booked, but if you're not converting those calls, that can be very discouraging and extremely exhausting. In this video, we're going to talk about how to maximize that ROI with each prospect and convert them into paying clients that are eager to work with you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Milena Gakesa and I'm the author of the book, The Art of Soft Selling. If you would like a free copy of my book, I'm going to link it in the description below, and please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button for future videos. All right, let's dive in. So first, I want to share with you my experience when I first got into high ticket phone sales. Now, at this point, I was already in sales for a while, but I was doing it in person. And there was just something so different about getting on the phone with a prospect that you've never met. It was kind of like that phone is a snake and you're afraid to touch it because it's going to bite you. And I remember even being on my very first call and literally forgetting to breathe. I had to hit that mute button so I could just go like breathing out because I didn't realize that I was holding my breath. So if that's you, don't worry. The good news is clearly I'm still alive and I made it. And the other good news is practice makes perfect. And every week I'm going to make sure to film a video for you that is going to show you how to do well in those discovery calls, those sales calls, those phone conversion calls. Okay, so stick with me. You'll be fine. I survived. You can too. Here are the top 3 things to keep in mind when you're doing your sales call. Number 1 is tonality, confidence, and mirroring. So I'm going to just group those together and I'll explain what I mean. So when you're talking on the phone with a prospect, you have to match their energy and you do have to come across as confident. So for example, let's say that they are very soft spoken and they talk quietly and softly. You can't talk at them at level 10 really fast, okay? Because what happens is on a subconscious level, they're gonna say, hey, this person isn't like me, and you've broken that rapport. And it's all about the rapport because the rapport builds the trust and people only buy from people that they trust. So if your prospect is soft-spoken, you want to be also a little bit more soft-spoken. Now, if your prospect is loud and fast, you want to try to match that energy to the best of your ability. I'm not saying fake who you are, but it's all about making that prospect comfortable to work with you. And if you are completely on different levels in terms of energy and you're not feeling their energy, that's okay too. You don't have to say yes to every client. But again, in the beginning, it is your job to make them comfortable. So make sure that your tone is matching. And don't forget to breathe, because you don't want that prospect on the phone to be like, hello, are you there? And you're passed out on the floor or something. So make sure that you are properly breathing so that your voice is very confident, very firm, very flat, and you're not kind of sounding like this, okay? Tip number 2 is the 80-20 rule. So that means that you're going to be talking only 20% of the time and they're going to be talking 80% of the time, because your job is to listen, because by listening is where you uncover the problem. So what you do is you start with some basic questions and then you build on your questions to dig deeper, because you don't want to start with, very deep questions. That's very uncomfortable. You have to ease them into it. So for example, if you are a love coach and you're talking to your prospect about their dating experiences, you want to just start off by asking, what their dating experience has been like. Have they tried certain apps? If so, which apps have they tried? Now, once they start talking about those apps, now let's say they say something like, yes, I tried some apps, but they just, didn't work for me. I didn't find the people that I was looking for. You can ask, well, what kind of people were you looking for? And they said, well, they just didn't have the qualities that I was looking for. You can say, great. So what qualities are you looking for? And then they'll go into those qualities that they're looking for. Now you ask, well, why are those qualities important to you? And then they'll tell you why. So you can go deeper and deeper very slowly and ask questions based on their answers. Does that make sense? If so, type yes in the comment below. Now, something really important to keep in mind here as you're listening is do not interrupt them. Resist the urge to interrupt them because you might want to ask your next question. However, if you can kind of tell that they're thinking, give them an extra couple of seconds, and just create that space for them to really be able to open up, okay? Because what happens is usually in those moments is where those aha comes, like those big insights. And you want to get to those insights and you want to help them get to those insights because that's how they're going to trust you as a coach. So now that you've uncovered the problem, the next step is to basically invite them to work with you. And the way that you do that, before you even kind of officially do that, you want to ask those questions like, is there anything else? Is there anything else? So is there anything else that would help you make a decision? Is there anything else that, you wanted to cover? Just make sure that everything is laid out on the table. Now, I know a lot of these coaching calls do tend to go for about 45 minutes to an hour, but if they go a little bit over time, that's okay. All right. So you want to always ask for, is there anything else? And eventually, when you kind of tell them, what it is that you do and how you can help them, when you ask them if there's anything else, they'll say, well, how much does it cost? And this is great when they ask as opposed to you telling them, because it kind of creates this ping pong effect where they get to ask you and then you get to tell them. So it feels less salesy. So they're kind of leaning in and asking you as opposed to you kind of being pushy and selling to them. Does that make sense? If so, type yes below. All right, so let's recap. Number 1 is your tonality, confidence, and mirroring, the way that you speak to the prospect and matching their energy. Number 2 is the 80-20 rule. You are listening 80% of the time and only talking 20% of the time. And tip number 3 is essentially asking them, is there anything else? And let them say everything that there is to say and get them to the point where they ask you what the price is and they ask you to work with you. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and please leave a comment on any future videos that you want to see. I do take my comments very seriously. I do respond to them and I also like to incorporate them into future videos. So I'd love to hear from you, and until next time, bye for now.